What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Nothing like starting the show with Jacob in the background going, oh, Lord. So you can only imagine what the conversation was like pre-show. How we doing, gents?
Great.
Great.
Got some rain today.
What's that?
Got some rain today. I'll take it.
Hey, there you go, man. We're supposed to get a little tomorrow. If it comes, great. I'm prepared for it to not hit, to be honest with you. I feel like we're in the Sahara Desert over here. But anyway, this isn't the weather report. We do it every show. We're not going to do it today. It's just been hotter than a $2 pistol in Jacob's basement. That's all I'll say.
That's it.
So let's dive into some Packers talk, boys. We are on the eve of quarterbacks and rookies reporting, right? I did get that date right, correct? Like they're supposed to report tomorrow, right? Am I thinking right, Jacob?
I believe that is correct, Clayton. I know that there was a few other teams, the Dirty discussing Bears. I think like the Bills and a few other teams had reported today as the official start of the 2025 NFL season. I am so freaking jacked.
That's what I'm saying, man. Blake B89 in the chat said, hey, we'll just do this.
Just here to tell you, Packers back.
So we're right around the corner, baby. It's here. We made it. Telling you, man.
Yeah.
Next month, leaves to get a little crispier. Then September drops. Football's flying in the air. You got some leaves starting to fall. Those early batches of leaves starting to hit the ground. A little crispy at night as far as the temperature. It's going to be awesome. Absolutely awesome. So we got a couple of different topics we can dive into here. I know I asked the guys, hey, what camp battles are you most excited about going into training camp? So we may hit on that a little bit as well. But first things first, man, I want to hit on this news that came, I think it actually came out today. Yeah, it dropped earlier today. Everyone's starting to talk about the financials from obviously where the Packers are going to share that at their shareholders meeting, all that good stuff. And this came down the pike. So I'll just read this quick article from ESPN, which states that the Packers report over $60 million in profit for the 24 fiscal year. It says Green Bay, Wisconsin. The Green Bay Packers received a record amount of national revenue from the NFL in fiscal year 2024, resulting in a profit from operations of $60.1 million. The Packers and the rest of the NFL's 32 teams for the first time received more than $400 million from the league. With the team getting $402.3 million in national revenue, that means the NFL split nearly $13 billion among the teams. $13 billion, baby. And I know there's a lot of people that are thinking that this whole NFL Sunday ticket lawsuit, if it does go through like they're planning, I think it'll be settled out significantly less than what they were asking. And we won't get into all the details. I know, believe it or not, it gets a little bit emotional. People get angry over it, and they act like the league's future kind of depends upon it. The league did some shady stuff. I'll just say that. All right. There's some that are just like, oh, these people are, they're just crying because they chose to pay an expensive amount for a Sunday ticket for all those years, and now they're suing. Listen, I've always bought Sunday ticket. That's a decision every individual human being makes, right? If it's too expensive, don't buy it. And I am of the opinion that it's not too expensive because people can afford to buy it. It's kind of like the folks that I'm living in poverty, but you're walking around with a new iPhone. Sorry, man. I can't. I get a phone, guys. I do okay. I got a phone that's 4 years old now. And I know people, they've got to get the new one every year. And they're the ones complaining that they're under the poverty level. Look, Jacob's got a flip phone. Look, he's got a Motorola.
iPhone 5, baby. iPhone 5.
Still going strong, right?
He has to keep it connected to the battery pack all the time, though, just because
that is kind of true. Yeah.
So essentially what it comes down to, and I heard a great interview with Ross Tucker on someone who has studied this whole lawsuit significantly. There's a rule in place, an agreement that was put in place between the NFL and fans way back in like the 60s or 70s. And essentially what it's supposed to be is you're supposed to have access to the teams in your market. Well, what's happened is the league has done some shady stuff to maneuver some of those games to make it to where people it's way more enticing to buy something like Sunday Ticket, and they jack the price up. Now, a message got leaked out that ESPN was actually looking to partner with the NFL and offer Sunday ticket for $70. Now look at what they're actually charging. In some cases, like between $300 and $500. So that and they actually have Robert Kraft's message got leaked out to the public where he said, no, that's way too cheap. So they are kind of gouging, just like anything in life, fellas. There's a little truth on both sides, and most of the time there's some evil on both sides, right? So I don't think if this lawsuit goes through, it's not the end of the NFL. They are printing money. Okay. And just because, people are saying it's going to damage the salary cap, of course the owners are going to say that. And it will lower, but here's the beautiful thing about the league. If it does lower, it lowers for everyone. These players aren't just going to go, well, I'm not going to play this year. That's not how it works. Right. So anyway, pretty cool that the Packers turned this kind of profit this year, obviously with that $60.1 million. It says, despite being the NFL's small market team, Green Bay continues to generate strong revenues. Overall, the Packers' net profit was down 12.5% from $68.6 million in fiscal year 2023, while local revenue increased from $235.9 million. I'll say it again. Local revenue went from $235.9 million to $251.8 million. The 6.7% gain wasn't enough to offset the increasing costs of stadium depreciation and player salaries. Quote, I think probably the main takeaway is that it's another strong year from a financial standpoint for the Packers. And I think really speaks to the popularity overall of the NFL, Packers president and CEO Mark Murphy said on Tuesday at Lambeau Field. So we won't read the entire article. Just want to give you guys kind of a glimpse behind the scenes.
Imagine what that percentage is going to be next year after the draft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bro.
400 million maybe? I don't know.
And that's why I have an issue with the whole Green Bay Packers versus the city of Green Bay, that whole argument. And everybody, that's another heated debate. And I'm not here to say, hey, this side's right and that side's wrong and vice versa. But, I mean, I look at stuff really cut and dry. Is the city of Green Bay better off with the Green Bay Packers being there? Yes, they are, right? So for the city to kind of act as if like, oh, we're doing you a favor. Hold up a second, bro. Like, I love the people of Green Bay. I would love to live there. I really would. To me, it's just as country as cornbread as it is down here in the great state of Tennessee. It really is. Like when you get to Green Bay, you're not going to find better people. Every time I've ever spent time in that town, they've showed just the utmost hospitality to me and my wife, my girlfriend at the time. I don't have a girlfriend on the side. I'm talking about Mandy when she was my girlfriend. So, but the way that I'm trying to think of how to word this, the way that the local government in Green Bay treats this is like they are just entitled to, like, the Packers, they belong to us, and it's I don't know, it gets a little bit awkward for me for them to act like they should be able to extrapolate as much money out of the Packers as possible when we know the Packers pump so much into that community. Am I wrong? Am I off base there, fellas? Because I feel like Green Bay is a much stronger community with the Packers there, right?
I mean, obviously, I would think that that's, without question. I think, like we've talked about, man, we are spoiled in Green Bay for many reasons, for multiple years. And I think we need to maybe take a little slice of humble pie, because have you looked at what's going on with Chicago right now? Chicago Bears aren't really going to be the Chicago Bears anymore. It sounds like that the team has kind of pushed them out. I don't even want to come down a revenue avenue, whatever you want to call it, that even sniffs close to that. So Green Bay, the city of Green Bay, yeah, just maybe take a slice, a humble pie, and just acknowledge that maybe the city's is great because of the Packers, not vice versa. Chill out, maybe be a little more humble, maybe accept the fact that, like, whatever the Packers need to do, want to do, have to do, let that happen. Quit being such a whatever, and just make sure that you get the deal done, because, like you talked about, man, this is a team that is bigger than any one city, any one state. This is a massive fan base that deserves to be in Green Bay for all time at all times. So I hope they just bury the beef and get this crap worked out.
The highway will never be the same if you're driving down. I don't know what that highway is, but it's never going to be the same if you don't see the G as you're going down it, right? I mean, exactly. The whole town would lose its who it was. You've seen it with old mining towns. What happens? We got done with mining there. we're out of here. So don't want to see that happen.
Yeah. And Chris M makes a great point here. He says the Packers were asking for an unreasonable rent reduction. That's what kicked off the issue. So they asked for the rent to be lowered. Here's my rebuttal to that. If I were to play devil's advocate for a second, now I'm representing the Packers. Okay, cool. What are you going to do with Lambeau? We're leaving. I pause for dramatic effect. What are you going to do with Lambeau Field now that we're leaving? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to be as much of a draw about the Packers. Like, yeah, listen, let's be real. The stadium wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the football team, right? I mean, they weren't just going to build a random stadium up there, right? And I don't mean to be such a simpleton, but it's just like, man, I don't know. And I heard other podcasters say, well, what that's doing is cutting into the money that goes into the local schools and this and that. And I'm thinking, boy, if we're going to lay it all on the table, let's lay it all on the table. Let's lay the entire books out for every government, local government, federal government, everything. Okay, where's this money actually going? Because we see over and over and over, you have these different huge, billions and billions of billions and billions of dollars in bills that get passed. And then when you read through the fine print, it's like the majority of this stuff isn't going towards what we were talking about anyway, right? They just kind of sneak stuff in and out. So I don't know, man. It blows my mind, man. Like I said, I am a very ignorant, simple person. But 2-0 for this says the city needs to get the contract done before Murphy leaves. That mayor doesn't want to deal with Ed Chuck Norris fears me policy. I love it. Love it. Ed Policy, man, he comes from a long line of ass kickers. I'll just say that, man. His dad helped run the 49ers organization. It was one of the most successful, teams, organizations in the history of the league. So I'm excited to see what Ed Policy does for sure. And I'm a real big fan of Mark Murphy. You guys know that. So
I like what Omer said here.
Almost $3 billion paid out to the teams by the league last year, but they can't afford refs or grass. To me, that's by design. I mean, 100%. Like, especially the refs. Jerry Jones said it a long time ago. Bad press is good press, right? And what he means by that is if you have a controversy surrounding a ref with a bad call, guess what's happening? Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about your league. Mm-hmm. They're not worried about it because it's an even playing field. Everybody's getting screwed. It ain't right. You know what I'm saying? And really, that's how business owners look at this stuff. What's the bottom line? I completely agree, Omer. Completely agree.
The touchdown, no touchdown. In Seattle.
That I will never forget how one official signaled touchdown, the other said incomplete. At the same time, they looked at each other like, "Oh. No." But yeah, as far as grass, I wish football was just played outdoor. I wish there was no domes, and I wish it was all grass, me personally. And obviously the players want grass. I will never understand why they don't do that. So anyway, J. Cole says, you open up a can of worms there, Clayton. Yeah. So let's dive into something else that came across the wire. You guys got anything you want to add to that? Again, I just wanted to kind of hit on the revenue. I thought that was cool that they're – the numbers already.
No, the only other thing, like I said earlier, I think that next year is going to be wild having that draft there and that influx. I know it's only going to be a weekend, but I think it's going to make big difference in the numbers for the community.
Yeah, for sure, man. No doubt about it. So we have some fantasy sleepers here. League winning sleepers to grab this year, Fantasy Football 2024. Now, you guys know I'm not a fantasy football guy. Jacob is. Jacob usually runs the league, operates one. You enjoy that pretty much, don't you, Jacob? I mean, you like diving into the fantasy leagues, right?
Yes.
So check this out. I thought this was cool. 3013 put an article out, said Fantasy Football 2024 league winning sleepers to grab this year. Look who's on the cover of the article, fellas. How cool is that? Mr. Dontavian Wicks. And it says, Green Bay Packers wide receiver Dontavian Wicks celebrates after catching a touchdown. I like how they put his number in there, like in case you didn't know, it's number 13. Picture, right? Celebrates after catching a touchdown pass against the Chicago Bears cornerback Terrell Smith, number 32. Don't see him in the picture. During their football game Sunday, this was January 7th, 2024 at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And it goes on to say, the key to winning your fantasy league is identifying one or two sleepers who could wildly outperform their average draft position, or also known as Jacob calls it ADP. Last year, Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams were the players selected outside of the top 100 who ended up helping managers win their leagues. So who are the sleepers? And the sleepers that you should be targeting this year. All right. If you go down the list here they are. Zamir White, running back from the Raiders. You guys heard us talk about him earlier when we were breaking down some of the Josh Jacobs talk, right? Next on the list is Tony Pollard, running back from the Tennessee Titans. All right. Next on the list is Jackson Smith and Jigba, wide receiver from the Seattle Seahawks. And then next on the list is our very own Dontavian Wicks. I thought this was really cool, man. So, and then it says again, Green Bay Packers wide receiver Dontavian Wicks, he's number 13 in this picture, celebrates after catching a touchdown against the Dallas Cowboys. So this is what the article says. ADP, average draft position, is 169, wide receiver number 70. That's pretty wild. Jacob, that seems kind of low, does it not, sir?
Yeah, so this is always – actually, it's been this way for – well, basically since Davante Adams left. You can't – it's a roll of the dice as to what you should do with the Packers. If you're going to pick one of their wide receivers, it's a dealer's choice. You don't really know. And honestly, that's one of those things. If you are into fantasy football, guys, these are my favorite picks for the last part of the draft. I mean, you look at right there, the highest they have Jaden Reed going is basically 100, right? So that's maybe mid third, late fourth. You could argue that maybe Christian Watson could maybe leap ahead of him. But the thing is that if you are smart with your fantasy football stuff, at least my strategy is you take a mid-range quarterback, somewhat, mid-round. I would go Jordan Love. I would pair him with either Watson or Reed or Dobbs or Wicks. And the best part about it is that you can get Romeo Dobbs or Wicks, who could be the X, could be the number one, whatever you want to call it. And you could get those guys in like rounds 10. Like, that's insane. That does not happen in fantasy football. That's called like a discount deal that you would not even believe. So this is just a crazy year. Any one of those four guys, which is incredible, could be a wide receiver one. So you really don't know what you're going to have when you walk into this. And the fact that they have 2 tight ends that are absolutely bosses and 3 running backs, it could also be a factor. It's really hard. I wouldn't put all your eggs in a Green Bay basket if you're trying to just like pick them in the early rounds. But if there's a late round guys that you can just pepper in, the Green Bay Packers are full of that type of people. And Dontavian Wicks, man, it is. I hate saying he's like a underdog because every single, I don't know about you, Emilio, every single podcast I've ever listened to in the last like 2 months, everybody's like Dontavian Wicks. Got to watch out for Dontavian Wicks. He's an underdog, but it's like everybody's talking about him. So the guy's footwork, if you guys don't remember, he was compared by Matt LaFleur and other people as having as good of footwork as Davante Adams when he was a rookie. The way that he ran routes, they literally said he's precise. Like, not just a little bit good, he's precise. He's on the level of Davante Adams. So that being said, man, I do think that you have to take an extra note for Dontavian. And, my guy, Don Wick, that's what I want, man. He's the guy.
Yeah, and the thing about Tay Wicks too, Emilio, I think he's got better hands than Davante Adams did his rookie year.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like we've talked about, we had to wait 3-4 years for Tay to even start to emerge. We've been lucky that we have guys that have showed up beyond Tay Wicks. Reed showed up right away. Dobbs and Christian still have shown up for what they've done for this team. So, we're very lucky. But like you said, Jacob, that's crazy that it's a pick of the draw. But I do remember them talking about it. Either you got a guy that's all in on the wide receiver group or all in on like Jaden Reed. And that's about it. Either pick up two or three of them and run with it or something. So it's crazy.
Yeah, and the article goes on to say the Packers are among the few teams in the NFL without a defined number one pass catcher. It's a fascinating strategy for a team with so much success in year one of the Jordan Love era. Will it work? ? That remains to be seen. But it also means that there could be a ton of value to be had at the wide receiver position. Here's the current ADP of the top pass catchers in Green Bay as of this posting. Jaden Reed, average draft position 98th and wide receiver number 47. Christian Watson, ADP 106, wide receiver 41. Romeo Dobbs, ADP 163, wide receiver 59. And then Dontavian Wicks, ADP 169, wide receiver 70. Unless a lot of people see this article and he starts to getting drafted a lot earlier than what people are projecting, Dontavian Wicks is the guy I'm taking out of this group right here, man, hands down. There's no doubt about it. So it says of the top 4 receivers in Green Bay, Wicks is the cheapest despite earning the 3rd most targets, 58, and yards, 581 of the team last season. The list of the day 3 receivers who produced over 500 yards during their rookie season is relatively small, but it has historically been a good indicator of future success. And I don't know who Marcus Mosher is, but that Mike Tyson from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out profile pic card in the mother bleeping paint, as they say in the streets, right? I love it. You guys, when was the last time you played Mike Tyson Punch-Out? I don't even know.
When I was like 8.
Jacob, you could probably play it on your Motorola Razr, dude. If you go online and just search for it, literally, they've got like these emulators. I queued it up a few weeks ago. I felt like I was 8 years old again.
Was
man.
it on Sega Genesis originally?
No,
is that what it was?
This was Nintendo, right? This was
Nintendo.
I'm pretty sure it was NES. Yeah, if I remember correctly. Anyway, man, I'm telling you, it's still good.
I remember the big boss. Remember the boss you had to fight?
Oh yeah, all of them, man. Glass Joe. Boy, he couldn't stand a chance.
That was one. Yeah.
Remember the Indian dude had the towel on his head and had hey, when that thing twinkles, Emilio, you catch him right in the gut, bro. It's over. You know what I'm saying?
Never played it. I don't know. Never played it.
Oh, yeah, you're like 14. I forgot about that.
Bates says NES. There we go, baby. NES, baby. Everybody's chiming in. I love it. Look at this. Number 1 Packer fan, King Hippo. Love it. King Hippo. Big old boy. Big old boy.
That's what I call my dog.
Yeah,
I just thought glad you went dog there.
Looking like Royce Newman with no mullet, man. That's what King Hippo is. I bet they are, man. Angus McHaggis says original copies of that game are worth a pretty penny now, man. The nostalgia, though, dude. Oh, I love it, man. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so that is your Dontavian Wicks talk / Mike Tyson Punch-Out. You guys are welcome for that. So, another thing that popped up, came across the wire here, was the projected wins total according to PFF and I think FanDuel as well. You guys can see this okay, can't you? Yeah. All right, so here is what this says. Summer in full swing with the training camps just around the corner. It's never too early or too late to shop the NFL future markets for the 2024 campaign. Schedules have been set, and the odds makers have weighed in with the help of PFF's season simulation model. We are diving into the future landscape to find value in the win totals market. Okay, so here is how it sits as far as FanDuel projected wins is how this is sorted. So FanDuel has the projected wins total for the Chiefs at 11.5, the 49ers at 11.5, the Ravens at 10.5, Eagles at 10.5, Bengals, Bills, Lions, and Cowboys at 10.5. Then the Green Bay Packers come in at 9.5 as the projected. Now, the FanDuel win total. Now, PFF projected win total, the Packers come in a little bit under that at 9.2241. All right, so obviously taking the over in that 9.5 right now with the odds is a minus 138 bet. Taking the under is a plus 112. So what do you guys think about that 9.5 win total there from FanDuel? You feel like that's pretty fair? I know we broke it down and most of us were saying, I think what I came away with, what was it? I said between, I think it was 10 and 12 wins, if I remember right. And most of us came away with 12 to 13 wins, right? When we walked through the schedule, am I thinking right?
Mm-hmm. I think I was one that was a little bit shorter than most of y'all. I think I was around 11. And I had a tie in there. But I think that's fair. I think these are very safe metrics there. Like, you got, what is it? Freaking 6 teams, 7 teams, all at 10.5 wins, so there's obviously going to be a few of those that are going to surpass that. You're probably going to have, I'd say 1 or 2 teams that are just, shooting well under par. So you'd say maybe they get 15, 16, maybe 14 wins or whatever. A few of them, there's going to be a couple teams that are doing 13 wins, 12 wins. I think the Packers, again, are going to be in that 11 to 12-ish win total. And I don't know if that's going to be enough in this division. I think that arguably, this is another question that we could maybe just quickly dive into. The NFC North, is that the most kind of grunted out division in this whole year of football right now? I mean, it used to not be that case. And the fact that we have so many new quarterbacks and all that maybe put a wrinkle in that, but this might be the most controversial / competitive division in this whole league this year.
Yeah. Angus McAgus says, I think we all remember where we were and what we were doing when Jacob predicted the tie. Love it.
Remember this day in history.
Amelia, what do you think about the 9.5 win there by FanDuel for the Packers?
What they only have 4, 5, 7. So there's 17. Yes, exactly. 7 teams with potentially double-digit wins out of the 32. So I think us being top 10, within the top 10 at 8 there, I think that's totally fine. Yeah, it's the 9.5, but let them sleep on us a little bit. Let's do under promise, over deliver, and let's hammer that down. So I think I'm totally cool with that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and again, it's all about just getting into the playoffs, right? Win 10 and you're in typically, and I think the Packers are in a good position to do that, man. I think you're going to see some things change this season too. I like to kind of keep up with tendencies, so I try to find stuff to study. Like, okay, what was catching fire in the last quarter of the season, specifically for the Packers, but even the league in general, because it's such a copycat league. And one thing that I will say the Packers started to do toward the end of the year, you started to see a little pistol, just a little bit. Well, where did they get that from? Why did they go to the pistol just randomly? It wasn't random. Sean McVay started running the hell out of the pistol with the LA Rams, and they had a lot of success with it. And many people, if you don't know what the pistol is, matter of fact, I might be able to pull it up here.
I was just going to ask, Clay, is that when the running back is kind of slightly right behind the quarterback, just a little bit 2 or 3 yards off?
About a 3 yard, 4 yard shotgun snap. But allows it's kind of like you're still under center, but you get a little breathing room. You don't have to worry about the quarterback backpedaling through 2-3 steps, but you still get the option to turn left and right, and the running back's still behind you. So you have a balanced kind of look to the defense. You're not off center to one side with the tailback or anything like that. You just have your strong with the tight end, but you could pull in a strong, get a little offset eye there kind of thing. But
yeah. Here you go. I actually got it in the playbook here. I got it pulled up. So let's go to the playbook here. If we can get this thing to, there we go. All right. So this is your normal gun set, right? This is kind of a dub look. So this is 11 gun dubs, strong right. So you notice the reason it's dubs, when we say dubs, first of all, 11, 1 running back, 1 tight end, right? That's what we mean by 11. 11 personnel equals 3 wide receivers. So you got your X, you got your slot, and then, of course, you got your Y as the tight end. They're going T weak here, strong right. Now, that's your normal kind of gun set. When you go pistol, you nailed it, Jacob. What's going to happen is the quarterback is going to be directly behind the center in a more shallow shotgun set, and the T is going to be directly behind him. And the reason that's important and the reason that teams kind of go to that, if you guys remember, I'm pretty sure that the 49ers and Colin Kaepernick, they ran that back in the day when they just absolutely torched the Packers. And the reason it's so tough to defend, let me go back to the normal gun set for a second. Imagine you're in a normal shotgun set. You're limited on what you could do in the running game. Most of your runs out of this look is going to be maybe a draw, right? Or it could potentially be an inside zone, right? Whichever area you want to run to, you can run an outside zone, but everything is kind of going to the right unless you run a quick pitch, maybe a crack pitch, which, you've seen them do in Green Bay numerous times. And what I mean by that is if you do like a pin and pull toss, so basically what you could have happen is you could have the slot crack down, the tackle crack down, and then have the guard and the center pull, and you run a little toss play out here to your running back. That's how you can get going to the left, but it's a lot more difficult to run in that direction. So why is the pistol so important? If we go to the pistol set here once again, so you move this quarterback up, there's a couple different things I took notes on the other day listening to Jordan Rodriguez and Nate and the guys talk about this. You now have every run at your disposal in the playbook. You can run left or right. So it forces the defense to play more balanced. And that's what Sean McVay absolutely loves to do. He likes to run out of 12 sets, but what he also liked to do that I noticed was he would put Cooper Kupp in here almost like an extra tight end. I know Cooper's not that big, but what you're doing is you're forcing a nickel defense with this 11 personnel, and you're getting a nickel back in here, right? Not the van, but, a nickel back to defend. So you can run stretch, outside stretch, right? Outside zone. You can run inside zone. Everything is on the table here, right?
Counter, trap, sweep. And
when everything's on the table, it makes play action way more effective, right? Way more effective. So with the notes I took, here are some of the positives, right? With the Rams using the pistol, it's basically an ace gun hybrid, okay? When we say ace set, guess what ace is, guys? This is real simple. Quarterback under center, that's now called ace or single back, right? When the center is in a shallow shotgun, that's now pistol. So it's a gun ace hybrid offensive formation, right? You can get to every run in the playbook like we talked about. You're not limited in the run game like you are with the sidecar, like we just talked about, right? Where if you had the sidecar, you're really, really limited on what you can do there. And the play develops a lot faster too, because it's a much more shallow it's way more shallow of a snap, right? With a long shotgun snap, there's typically longer step drops.
Right. More time for the edges to get off, more time for all that.
Absolutely. So you're giving the defense a little bit of an edge with that extra time, as opposed to the run game developing so much quicker. And if the run game is developing so much quicker, that means the play action aspect of your passing game is developing that much quicker. Therefore, the defense, they're just getting started. It's going to be just a convoluted start, stop, and try to shoot like we talk about, right? So,
but even with the pistol, you still can get the quarterback turn around, hide the ball. That's why the play, I think that's, you have that ability with the play action. You can still do the arm in the belly, stick your hand way out there, really show the ball, pull it in, peel out.
Is there a type of running back, I guess, format that fits that better? Because if in my head, I remember Jonesy doing this a little bit, but I don't remember it so much with AJ Dillon. Is there a certain type of like skill set? Like, are you more of a scat back? Do you want a power back doing that kind of stuff? Is that more of like, is it interchangeable, or can you just basically kind of plug and play?
I think to me, it's that really doesn't play a role in whether or not a power back, a scat back, or a balance back fits it more. Mm-hmm. That when you get into that, that's where you're talking about run scheme that fits a back a little bit more. Like if you're going to run a gap scheme or a zone scheme, or you're going to run duo, you're going to run power, you're going to run two pullers, one pullers, front side pullers, back side pullers. All that is where you really get into the details of, hey, this running back is really good at this specific type of run, right? Like with Marshawn Lloyd, when we went and did the chalk talk from USC last year with our new rookie running back, Marshawn Lloyd, what did they do? GT power, GT power, GT power. He is perfect for that, because he's got kind of that very casual, very patient start and then cut and go, right? As opposed to like Jonesy was just, it was really balanced chaos. That dude looked like he was, running so hard from the second he got the ball, cut back, right? There was no Marshawn Lloyd, when I watch him run out of that power GT set or GT power sets with USC, to me, it reminded me of Le'Veon Bell in his prime, before Le'Veon Bell thought he was going to be a rapper.
Dude, I was just going to ask, because it wasn't that the running back that used to, you'd literally watch him wait and he'd touch the backs of his offensive lineman, and then he would, boom, shoot the gap as soon as it came about. Like, that was a very patient type of runner. And that's what I was wondering. Yeah, Barry Sanders as well, like Randy said. Yeah. He would just kind of diagnose, sit there, and he was so that's so crazy. The guy was so talented that he could just kind of sift, wait, and then boom, just hit the freaking gap.
Absolutely
insane.
Now, listen, Marshawn Lloyd's got to do it at the next level, but I see a little bit of that in Marshawn Lloyd. I really do, man. And he is thick, as Coach Hafley would say. So,
have y'all?
Go ahead, Jay.
Just real quick, Marshawn Lloyd, I watched some highlights of him yesterday, and one thing that I noticed, because he had a really big knock on him, because he was supposedly a fumbler, for lack of a better word. Mm-hmm. What I've noticed, I don't know if you guys saw, but towards the end of his career, when he would get the ball away, he would tuck that ball up so high and so pronounced, almost in the middle of his chest, that I was like, is that why he's having ball issues? Because he would literally throw that ball up, like I'm talking, he would tuck that thing very high, and it was almost to the point where I was like, that's the weirdest stance I've ever seen a ball carrier hold a ball. Like, remember, it is. Say again.
Remember Tiki Barber when he
got that's how it was
high.
That was tight. Dude, that was it. And I don't know if that's him adjusting or if that was how he actually held the ball, because I haven't done enough research on him. But I'm wondering if that was, like I said, either an adjustment to the fact that he did have that many fumbles, or the fact that now, or that was just the way he ran the ball. Because it was almost like you said, Emilio, it was abnormally to the point where, like, why are you running like that, dude? What's going on?
Yeah. Coach Lynn mentioned wide zone when you're running kind of a wide zone blocking scheme. Like if you want to go wide zone out of the pistol, to me, that's what it's set up for. And if you go back and listen to the Play Callers podcast with Jordan Rodriguez and all the Kyle Shanahan tree, Jacob's over there hacking up a lung. You okay, Jacob? We good, man?
I got it.
Exactly, got it. So, what they would do is they put him in a pistol being RG3, and when he won Rookie of the Year, because he was such a threat in the read option, and they could also kind of read and ride, or ride and read. They could kind of run that RPR look, come off of it, and hit those crossers. That was just the staple in that Matt LaFleur offense when they were in Washington, and Kyle Shanahan was really the OC. I think Matt LaFleur was actually the quarterback coach at the time, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's wild, man. I know we've talked about it before, but the more you talk about Matt LaFleur, it's like he was Matt Ryan's coach when he won MVP, right? He was the coach of the Rams when they made it to the Super Bowl, the OC there, right? He comes to Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers wins 2 MVPs underneath his tutelage. He won a rookie. RG3 won Rookie of the Year under Matt LaFleur in Washington. It's like everywhere he goes, man. Everywhere he goes.
Didn't Tannehill have his best career under Matt LaFleur as well, if I'm not mistaken, or is that not true? No. I don't think that's true. I
could be wrong, but I
retract.
I feel like they struggled pretty bad because the only reason I know that, Jacob, is because when they hired Matt LaFleur, I immediately went through, okay, what did the Titans do last year? And I looked at numbers and went, this ain't good. But lo and behold, Mark Murphy made the right hire, man. There's no doubt about that.
Coach Lindo has a great point as to what I was trying to describe. He goes, that's called the claw hold. And that's what it felt like. It's like a crab claw or something like that. He goes, they teach him that to keep the running backs high and tight. So, okay.
There you go. Emilio, give them the demonstration one more time there.
I don't know if Coach wants a finger on it or the claw over the point.
Oh,
already.
How dare you?
Unbelievable, man.
It's a family show, dude.
What's wrong with you, bro?
Yeah, don't do that.
All right. So, again, I wanted to mention pistol because every offseason I kind of try to study a little bit. And if you guys remember 2 years ago when I started the pod, a listener asked me, and it was one of my favorite questions. I wish people do it every year, not that they even care what I think, but somebody asked, hey, what's the one thing that you think that no one's talking about enough about the Green Bay offense that's going to be, a big factor? And I was like, man, RPOs. It was RPO central in 2021, man. I mean, that's all they did was ran RPOs. Mm-hmm. And then, so this year kind of going in and studying a little bit, it's like, the Packers ran the pistol a few times there down the stretch. And I immediately was like, what the hell are we doing in the pistol? That's just so random all of a sudden. And then I hear Jordan Rodriguez talking about the LA Rams because she, studies the Rams quite a bit and them and how they run the pistol a ton last year and had a lot of success out of it. Kyron Williams, right, was their running back, wasn't he? And he was like, I don't think he led the league. He might have led the league in rushing. How did they do it? They did it out of the pistol because that defense has to account. There's just far fewer tendencies that you could pick up on.
It's a lot more like the Matt's whole point, simplicity with the illusion of complexity, all that. He still has that illusion of, dude, I can run all of the above on a run play. We can run swings, we can run screens, we can run wheel routes, we can do reverses, we can do a halfback pass. Like that, yep. Everything's available and it's happening in half the time. Like you said, the shotgun snaps longer. And with an under center snap, the quarterback still has to meet the running back in the backfield. So why not just have him turn and hand it and we're off?
Imagine in this situation, you're running that zone left, that wide zone left a lot all day long, right? So you're kind of showing that zone left. And then all of a sudden, running back shows zone left and you run a little boot action on the backside.
Right.
And you might even get a little chip here, like maybe even a little chip from Cooper. Get in here and chip a little bit and wrap around, right?
I like that. I was even thinking if Cooper was coming underneath each time for the sift block, sift.
Yeah, you could do that.
And then.
Mm-hmm. So imagine this look right here, right? And then what I love about these sets is you give it a little skinny.
Yeah.
And then across the field. Because what happens is if they're in a single high look, as soon as you get to the point, play fake, everybody freezes. And let's say that this is the safety up here and he's single high, right? That single high safety is going to bite down just a touch. Let me do this real quick. If he bites down just a touch on the run, then fades back, and now he's got eyes on this crosser right here coming right across his face, guess what he's going to do? He's going to bend with that, and now you've got a double move off the other side. If you have the time, you can set, and Jordan's got the arm strength to pop that thing deep to the Z there. Yep. And if he gets in trouble and they don't bite on the play fake, guess what? You've probably got a little chip right here, a little chip, and then leak it out. So you've got multiple layers that you can attack the field. So you've got underneath to the Y on a little leak. You've got the slot, or here's the cool thing. This slot receiver we're showing here, the way they like to use Cooper Kupp, guess who that could be? That right there could be Tucker Kraft, right? Especially if you're running a lot of wide zone, you want that extra tighty in there. So you can attack at 3 levels, and you still got your shot play if the protection holds up, the protection being you manipulate the defense to where they're not on your quarterback.
2 things. Also, like Christian Watson in that U spot where he's standing up next to the line, will still get his nose dirty, but could do that slip route or the drag. Also, we could flip the Z and the Y, and like Musgrave did when he stayed on his feet, run the dragon wheel. And then I even like the Z kind of doing like a post corner, like a post corner, really sell it inside, and then we still get 3 layers going, dragging right.
Yep, absolutely. And when he's talking about a post corner, you correct me if I'm wrong, Emilio, but you're talking about one of these, right?
Oh, those are beautiful, right?
And you got your quarterback on the perimeter. And let's say they read the pass, everybody fades back. Jordan's got the legs to take it upfield for 4 to 6 yards, get out of bounds, and you're on to second.
This is one formation.
Right. It's just wild. There's a number of different things you can do for sure. And I think Coach Lynn mentioned the bubble aspect too. You could throw some RPO stuff in. If you wanted to, imagine you're still showing this wide left look, right? But instead, if you hammer that wide zone left a few times and the defense starts to kind of snug up on that, guess what you can do? You can get a little bubble action here, right? And get you a lead block out here with the X. So you can get the slot on that. You get everybody peeking inside here on defense, and all of a sudden now you can get a little bubble screen out to the left. You can even run a little smoke over here if you want. Not that kind of smoke, Jacob.
Do you guys think that's an underrated aspect of the Packers offense, that even though these guys are so young and all that we have guys like Christian Watson, who people say are just a speedster, they're willing to go out there and make that block. Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Dobbs, they are willing to go out there and be a piece of the puzzle. Like you just look there, if you want to try to scheme some sort of like out route for the tight end or some sort of wheel route, whatever it is, for the running backs, whatever you can think of, the fact that Matt LaFleur can rely on his wide receivers to be lead blockers in a certain sense, isn't that kind of unique and cool?
Absolutely.
You got to be willing to be able to block, or if you're not going to get the ball in the air. You know what I'm saying? Like
he can block.
How can you get the ball? How can you catch a pass if you can't block for your, runner out there?
Yes. Oh yeah.
While you're at it, slide those wide receivers into a real tight, nasty look, and then Matt LaFleur is cooking out of this look right here, right?
Yeah.
Like Coach Lynn said, run this nasty little bit of motion. It's over.
Let's go, man. We're not even talking. This is just a set. All right, snap the ball, go. There's no cheat motion. There's no zipper motion. There's no nothing. That's just, it's a cool set, man.
We watched it. We literally watched it last game. He ran a motion this way, ran a sift back this way, ran the ball back that way.
Yeah, playing chess, not checkers. Now, listen, guys, if you see the pistol reemerge this year for the Packers, remember we talked about it, right? And that's why the offseason is so important. It's like just kind of study the tendencies in the downtime. Everybody's going to go, oh, it's football season will start. I'm running out of time on all the stuff I wanted to watch and study and try to pick up on, right? Like right now I'm studying the Green Bay Packers 2023 offense. I got a book on it by Bobby Peters. And like it's just there's so much to learn if you know when to use the downtime. Now, if we come out this year and the Packers never run pistol, pretend like we didn't even talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Episode did not happen.
Exactly.
Check out who we got here.
Mr. Jake Shavink. What's
Hey,
up, big dog? Says evening posse. Guard market continuing the rocket ship trajectory with Quinn
Miners.
4 years, $45 million guarantee. Appreciate it, sir. I had the breaking news that the breaking news soundbite we were not happy with, so we got to get us a new one.
I like that one. You're not going to do it anymore?
Sorry, Jacob. It was just weird, man. I don't know. I'll put it back in there.
Can we play it one more time? See what the chat thinks.
Let me find it, man.
On my knee.
All right, let's see here. Here it is, guys. You tell me if you think that this is a good enough news break, because we got to be careful with the copyright stuff. This one is not copyright.
I love it.
It
says there's aliens and there's news.
It says there's aliens and what? There you go. Yeah,
That's
Randy
why I
Cleaver
like
said it. X-Files. I'm telling you, that's what I think of too, man. Bad news break. That's what Dan
Oh
said.
man, come on, I love
Look
it.
at that profile pic, Dan. That is,
Ooh.
bro. That's clean.
That's a
Man,
nice
I need that stamped on my marriage certificate. You know what I'm saying? Man, that looks good right there. You kidding me?
That's a tattoo Jacob's gonna get when
Alaskan
the Packers
Chris says
defense is
we
top
can do
7.
better.
I agree, Alaskan Chris. That's why I'm deleting it again, Jacob.
No,
Okay.
look, hey, Packer fan loves it.
Maybe they were talking
Gentlemen,
about the
brings me to my next
conspiracy.
point.
Yeah.
Don't smoke crack.
All right. We were going to talk a little like what camp battles y'all were excited about. Do y'all want to hit on that a little bit?
I was gonna say
Yeah.
if not, you could run. I sent that message finally sent in the Twitter group. If you wanted to pull that, it was DJ and Buck on Move the Sticks. It's like a minute. It's like just shy of 2 minutes, but
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
going over.
The hamster
that?
started working.
Oh,
What?
I said your hamster started working. You got that to go
Oh,
through.
yeah. No, it just took me a second. I had to go yell at it, but I pretty much they're just going through, what the team is. Blue chip, green chip. Blue chip is all-star talent. Green chip is, can get to all-star talent. Yellow is an injury or they're not, you're getting old kind of thing. So they're not sure. Pink is young talent that has potential coming up. Purple is like a blue chip young talent, I believe. And I think that's all the colors. But this is just the Packers when they were going over NFC East, NFC North. So this is just the Packers of the NFC North cut. But basically, Detroit had a bunch of blue chips, and I believe we had 0 as a spoiler alert. But listen to this amount of greens.
See if we can get this queued up here for us, fellas. All right, this is the best I can do. Is that all right, Emilio?
Pull it up.
Here we go. See what we got here. If it'll go full screen, it ain't going to. All right, here we go.
A lot of green here, which signifies they have just a lot of really good players. Offensively, Jordan Love, 25, is a green. Jaden Reed is a green. Josh Jacobs is a green. Christian Watson we have as a yellow, coming off a little bit of an injury there. But they, again, a whole host of other offensive playmakers you could consider for those spots. Quality offensive lineman, Elton Jenkins is a green. Zach Tom is a green. And then you've got some younger, unproven players between Rasheed Walker or Jordan Morgan. Those guys are pink right now. Jordan Morgan should be class 24 on that, but he's 23 years old. So that's the young guys there. Defensively, Rashawn Gary is a green, close, potentially being a blue. Kenny Clark is a yellow. Jair Alexander's a green. Xavier McKinney's a green. And then your choice between Quay Walker and Edgerrin Cooper. Those guys are young, 24 and 22-year-old young guys that are just young. We got to get them some more experience. But man, that is I would just use the word really good. Like that is maybe not the high end that Detroit has, but man, depth wise, that is a deep, deep group there in Green Bay.
I wish I was good enough in poker to be able to give the analogy of when you don't have all of the high end face cards, but you have a good enough hand to be able to win some hands. That's what the Green Bay Packers have. When you look at what they have in comparison to the Lions, we talked about rattling off all of these blue players that they have. We talked about 4 out of 7 on offense and being able to throw Aiden Hutchinson in. With the Green Bay Packers, you don't have like that one stud that you can say with unequivocally he's a blue, but you have a lot of guys that are just at that line where they could play at that level. And you just wonder, the Golden State Warriors years ago used to walk around with their shirts talking about strength in numbers. I wonder if the Packers collective exceeds the talents of the individual, but the team is better because all the pieces of the puzzle fit.
Ooh.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, now this is an interesting one. We get to the
All right. Appreciate you sending that, Emilio. Dude, that's exciting when you hear former scouts talk like that about your team, dude.
Yeah. And what kind of tripped me up was they didn't mention Musgrave. They didn't mention anything with Tucker Kraft. Obviously, we're a little homers. We're looking into it a lot. But Musgrave was, I think, top 20 in PFF. He's getting there. So maybe he would have fallen into the pink category. So I still think that we have so many greens, but they're sleeping on a lot. They don't have Rashawn as a blue. I think that's a little slight, but it's basically like everybody on our team that we think is an all-star talent is on that cusp, and if it all pops off, it could be incredible sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Jake, you got anything to add to it, brother?
I mean, yeah, it's just if you want to compare the offenses, everybody's talking about like Detroit all of a sudden, like they're the next powerhouse. This is crazy how they came out of nowhere. If they lose one of their wide receivers, if they lose St. Brown, they're done. They don't have depth. They have maybe Khalif Raymond is their number 3 after that. That's assuming that Jameson Williams even has any sort of power at all. If Sam Laporta goes down, they have no one. If you look at the wide receivers group and the tight end group and the positional groups in the Green Bay Packers, God forbid, if anything happens to Musgrave, we saw it last year. Mr. Tucker Kraft will come smoking lawn darts, just freaking sitting here.
Oh, that was
That.
absolutely beautiful.
If one of the wide receivers that God forbid has to have any sort of, if 2 of them, if 3 of them, I'll go so far as to say if 3 of our wide receivers ends up getting hurt, God forbid, I don't want it to happen, then we have 4 to 5 other guys that can fulfill that role that will be even better, if not just as comparable as those people could be. I would argue that the only actual definite position group that they have over us is the offensive line group. They have a great offensive line there in Detroit.
He can block.
That being said, they can block, but you know what? Depending on what happens this year, depending on who takes certain steps, the Green Bay's offense, I think, will surpass Detroit's and in most offenses in the NFL. And the defense is the biggest question mark here. Obviously, we have so many question marks at the defensive positional groups, whether or not the cornerback position takes a step, whether or not the safeties that are so young and one of them is so developed, one of them so young. That's going to be whether or not I think that's going to make or break this year. But as far as people trying to say that, like, comparing us to the Lions, I just, for the last 30 years, you would never compare us to the Lions. All of a sudden for the last year, now we're compared to the Lions.
And right before that clip, Jacob, they literally convinced each other that Sam Laporta was worthy. I mean, yeah, he was top 5 or whatever tight end, but they convinced each other that he wasn't just a green; he was a blue chip. And changed.
I love Sam Laporta. I loved him from the draft. He was one of my tight end ones. I wanted that guy so bad.
Yeah,
but and I didn't know that he was going to do as well as he did as a rookie. So don't get me wrong. I think that dude is a absolute blue chip. I really do. But you know what? Compared to like I said, Jared Goff is a guy that's playing within a system. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think, is a borderline blue chip, but I think that you could argue that if he didn't have a perfect position, that he could be Equanimeous.
Yeah, Coach Lynn's got a great question. We'll end it with this question here. He said, question: if we bring back Bakhtiari, he goes to left tackle, move Walker to right tackle, and now you can move Tom to center. What y'all think? If you're telling me we can get Bach back and he's healthy, right? Which I know, Coach, you're not saying that. I know no one can guarantee that. I understand. But just kind of, best case scenario. I'd be all about that because I'm telling you, man, center is such an important position. Every year you look up and the teams that are competing for the Super Bowl, they have good center play, every one of them. And our center play has not been good. 2 years ago, Josh Myers was a good pass blocker. Last year, he wasn't that good. And that was the only thing we could really hang our hat on with Josh Myers. He's a physical freak, guys. 6'5", 320, whatever he is. Really, really big dude, athletic dude for a center. He's everything you want in a duo center, being able to double to the next level, to be able to do like we talked about the other day where you'll have the center actually pull on some plays. They like to run a little wide receiver screen too where the center and the guard would get out front. All those things, you get the physical tools to get out there. The problem is he's whiffing like me at 41 in the batting cage. You know what I'm saying? He's just swinging and missing when he gets out there. It's rough to watch. So, yeah, Coach Lynn, I would be all about it. Now, for Bach, it'd have to be the right price too. That's the other thing because I feel like our offensive line isn't bad. They're not like over the moon great, but they're not bad. And if you're talking about bringing Bach back for $25 million for a year, I think I'd rather have that $25 million roll over to next year with the Jordan Love contract and everything else we want to build in the future. That's where I kind of I have a little bit of a hard time with that with the Bach talk. What do you guys think? I'll pass that around here and then we'll get out.
I think that's going to have to be a no-go. I mean, I appreciate Bach, but that's basically our line from last year, and I think we did perfectly fine once Jordan Love started taking control of the the protection and all that. So I'm really not worried about it. I think that once we get Jordan Morgan in there, Monk, all the new guys, we can give them a shot. Excuse me, and it's just going to be a brand new.
Just gonna say that.
It's just going to be a brand new, team. So, and there you go. Like
Coach Lynn said, we're already paying him $9 million, right? So,
yeah. I would agree completely. It just don't get me wrong. I love Bakhtiari. He is my favorite, maybe my favorite Green Bay Packer of all time. If I could go and if there's anybody that I ever want to go to a beer pong championship with, it's going to be David Bakhtiari. If there's anybody I need to if you put a, to my head and say, hey, if you got 10 reps, you got to project this quarterback for 10 times. I'd pick David Bakhtiari in his prime, 100%. I don't think that he's that player anymore, and I don't say that as a knock on him whatsoever. I do think that if he were to come back, I hope, I literally pray that him and Rodgers get to hang out again over there in New York. I would love that. That would make me have some weird, I'd have a man tear in the corner. I'd cry and just think, hey, they're back together. That's good to go,
Bro, I'm telling you that Bears game week 1 last year with Bach played, bro, he dominated. And he looked so comfortable. He looked like he was I was thinking, we got Bach back. He's healthy now. Bro, come and set to the line. They're calling out the protection. He's okay. Throw the bird up to the sky. This dude. Then after the game, he was over on the sideline waving to the crowd.
Right.
Yes, Bach is back. We didn't hardly see. Did we see him the rest of the year? I don't know if we did the rest of the year.
No,
barely. No.
So tough, man. So tough. But I like what Angus says here. Bach would have to come back on the cheap, prove it deal for it to work.
Yeah,
that might be
minimum.
Yeah, vet minimum with a bunch of incentives, and if he balls out and it's worth the money, I just don't see him doing that. You know what I mean? But great question though, Coach. Great question. It's definitely something that here's the most enticing part of your question for me is Tom at center. I love that idea. Either him or Elton Jenkins at center. I would personally rather have Tom stay at right tackle and put Elton at center. And you patch together the guard positions. That's just me personally. But
yeah, I would like that. I would Clayton. I would much rather have that. Well, give me 2 anchors on the side, a solid center, and we can work with the guards. I think that's the way to go. And honestly, we're going to know shortly once they start running some training camp practices. Obviously, they're going to cycle through the O-line groups. First, second team, third team, but just seeing the lineups a little bit deeper now with pads, seeing how they perform, we're going to get answers quickly.
Yeah, what I want to see, man, I just want to see Jordan Morgan no matter where they put him. I want to see him as Macho Man once said.
The cream will rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
I just want to see him, you know what I mean, be like, oh, he's a stud. We got us a solid offensive lineman for the next 10 years type performance. I really do. Jacob, you got anything else, buddy? You started to say something there.
No, it's just now that you said that, it does kind of flash it's like Walker left tackle. Let's say Morgan at left guard. Jenkins at center would be amazing. Let's throw our big boy Sean Ryan there at right guard and get right tackle for Zach Tom, man. And I think that could be a good formidable front there. And
I agree.
Let's see. Let's go.
Emilio, you got anything, bub?
Nothing.
We'll get that recruiting done, man. All right.
Yeah, I'm behind, man. Team needs some help.
Are you running with the balls?
No, I'm running with the Bulls.
Buffalo?
Yeah.
Nice. I love it, dude.
Yeah, trying to bring them back to former glory when Mac was there. So I got a lot of work to do. I got a 3-star athlete that's verbally committed, so I'm
got me a 3-star.
Ooh, better watch out.
He does double duty on the lacrosse team, right?
Yep,
he's good to go.
Yep.
Got him a double
scout. Quarterback and safety. We need all the help we can get.
I was telling the guy I took over Kentucky last night and was like, all right, let's just simulate through a year, kind of get used to the new recruiting stuff on the game. We're talking about college football 25, in case y'all are wondering. They're going, what the hell are they talking about? I got like 4 wins simulating. They're ready to run me out of town, bro. Coach Stoops is looking for another job. I'm going to be cleaning toilets over at EKU if I ain't careful. You know?
Emilio sent over 7 messages today at the same time, the same message over and over and over and over and over. And I went, Emilio, you okay? And he goes, sorry, man. I've been only awake or I've only had like 4 hours of sleep. I've been doing college football.
No more than 20 minutes before that, Eric, the guy that, we got our landscaping business guy, looked at him, I went, bro, my head is pounding. I did not get any sleep last night. That's what it was. So, anyway, got to live a little, man. That's what you do when you ain't got no life. You just stay up late and do stuff like this. So That's just how it is. All right, we're out of here. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. The chat was lit tonight. We got over 200 watching right now. Appreciate y'all. Hit that like button on the way out if you don't care. That really, really, really helps the show more than you know. And I appreciate everybody.
And share it.
Yeah, share it. Rumble's blowing up. Everything's. I'm telling you, man. The channel, the podcast, everything's going to go nuts this year. We kind of got our feet under us the last few years. Obviously, we've had to tone back some of the footage that we show because it's throwing copyright strikes and things like that. And when you got a platform that won't explain to you what the rules exactly are, you got to kind of play it safe. But I feel like the content's getting better as we go, and it has nothing to do with us. It's just football's great, man. Football's great. We got awesome listeners. The chat's always on fire. It's just a blast. So really appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We'll be back tomorrow night for PTA Live, 7 p.m. Central Time. For those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. And go Pack, go.